Let me start off by saying I love this game. The music is amazing, the combat is fluid and fun, the world is interesting and ever expanding, Hornet's movements are clean and precise, the characters you run into on your journey are always a treat, and the story is captivating. That being said, the games industry should make a mandatory warning on certain games that will 100% piss you off when you play them. Warning, this game will raise your blood pressure. Warning, you might break a controller or a mouse or keyboard when you play this game. Warning, in order to feel good playing this, first you have to feel like shit. If you love Souls and Souls-like games like I do, then you will love this new Alien Clothing collection. We've got 4 new designs, each one with an iconic woman from a Souls game that represents that game. We've got Ronnie the Witch from Elden Ring with the Moonlight Greatsword on the sleeve. We've got the Firekeeper from Dark Souls 3 with the Coiled Greatsword on the sleeve. We've also released 2 t-shirts, one of Lady Maria from Bloodborne, my personal favorite game ever made, and finally the Maiden in Black from Demon Souls. All these are original designs, and they'll only be available for the next 7 days. So if you want something for yourself or a loved one for this holiday, go get it now, baby. There's a 35% off site-wide sale going on right now for Black Friday, excluding the new collection. It's active until Monday. We also re-released the Sinners collection, you know, because of the tariff nightmare that we all went through a couple months ago. So they're back again with a discount. So if you love that movie, now is your time to get them. Don't worry about tariff problems if you're in the US. We made sure that those problems will not be an issue going forward. Now back to the review. Everything you heard about this game is correct. Hollow Knight SILKSONG is the newest and greatest
cock and ball torture simulator.
Want to get pissed off? This is the game for you. The runbacks in this game are atrocious. If you aren't sure what a runback is, basically in these games you get a save point, whether that be a bonfire like in Dark Souls, or a lamp like in Bloodborne, or in this game's case, a bench. This is a spot you will pop up again after you die. A runback starts from this point to a boss arena that you're trying to get to in order to face the boss again and again and again, because normally in these types of games, you know, Souls-likes, the bosses are very difficult. Sometimes a game will be merciful, like in Elden Ring. They'll give you something called the Stake of Marika, which is a little statue outside of a boss arena that the game will allow you to respawn at after you die to this boss, so you can immediately try again. SILKSONG likes to spit in your face. Oh, you wanna try this boss again? Well, you gotta parkour through this super annoying area with tons of spikes and flying enemies. Good luck not getting damaged before you have to face this annoying boss that will definitely kill you, and then you have to do it over and over again. So not only are you forced to memorize the boss, you also have to memorize these 1 to 3 minute sections that you're forced to run through in order to face the boss, and you want to get through these sections without being damaged. The original Hollow Knight gave you something called the Dream Gate, which allows you to kind of teleport yourself to an area closer to the boss if you would like to. This kind of mitigated that problem a little bit. Granted, you got it later in the game, but it allowed you to kind of choose a spot where you could teleport to so you could, you know, skip these runbacks. SILKSONG doesn't have this. No idea why. It's kind of annoying. Like, the amount of times I've sighed with discouragement or annoyance because of this game is countless. And if you played this game, you definitely know what I'm talking about. I know the comment section on this video is gonna be filled with these get good nerds. Oh my god, you need the game to be easier? What a pussy. Don't listen to those people because nobody likes having a bad time.
61,500 SILKSONG gamers are pussies.
And I think a lot of the complaints about this game going around online are completely valid. And this game annoyed me. I don't have a 9 to 5. I don't have to work all day and then come home and then find a game to play to relax, only to have that game shit on me. Like, I can't imagine what that would be like. You get home and you're like, oh my god, I'm so excited to play this game that I waited 7 years to play. And then this is what happens when you play it.
I was then diddled by the sweatiest, most bitchless, unemployed creatures this planet has ever seen.
Jarvis, clip that shit.
Obviously, people knew what they were kind of getting into when they started this game. It's going to be difficult. There were definitely sections in Hollow Knight that were hard. This game takes it to a new level, and it will crush your balls into a paste. Most of the time, you're up against flying enemies, and in this game, they're annoying as sin. They're impossible to reliably hit. This game is one of those games where you face something and you're like, oh my god, that sucked. Obviously, there can't be something worse than that, right? Not only is there something worse than that, there's something worse than the thing that's worse than that. And there's something worse that's worse than that thing. And it just goes on and on and on.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Granted, the game does give you options to deal with these annoying enemies, but in order to use these things that make the game easier, you have to farm your ass off. I really love how they took Hornet's moves and traps directly from Hollow Knight and let you use them in Silksong. It's weird how her cloak is a different shade of red though. Did they do that because, you know, she's not the main character in the original game? Also, why doesn't she say, Shaw? Shaw! She constantly said that when you fought her. But no, I guess she doesn't say that anymore. Obviously, this game shares a lot of similarities with Hollow Knight, but it's also quite different. The Knight feels a lot more floaty, he jumps higher in the early game, he hits harder, and he loses less health when damaged. Hornet from Silksong loses 2 masks when she's damaged, for most enemies anyway, while the Knight only loses 1. There are things in that game that will damage you for more than 1 mask, but most things just damage you for 1. She's your like typical dexterity build, while the Knight is like a tank, which is funny because the Knight's so tiny. This little guy.
Look at that face.
He's a dense little bean. While Hornet is fast and fragile. I get it, you know? Hornet's initial pogo is very awkward. If you don't know what pogoing is, it's when you attack an enemy downward and you kind of like bounce on their head. Or you can attack down on objects in the world that will allow you to jump off of it. When you attack down with her while airborne, she attacks diagonally. So when you pogo off of objects to get somewhere higher, not only do you have to attack downward to get to each one, you have to make sure you're attacking downward and at the correct angle. So it's a pain in the ass to pogo until you get the Wanderer's or Reaper's crest. There are so many funny videos of people like failing miserably to pogo in the ant area that's early in the game. The differences between the Knight and Hornet wouldn't be that big of a deal if the two games weren't so vastly different in difficulty. I kinda get it because Silksong initially started out as a DLC, but then was further developed into a full-fledged title. Silksong feels like Hollow Knight, but with the difficulty turned up to 11. Do you like gauntlets? Did you like it in Hollow Knight when you had to go through that arena of fighting 6 watchers in that room where they bounce all over the place? This game has 1,000 of those, and a lot of them are unavoidable. Wave after wave of Satan's worst warriors shitting all over you. Oh my god, these little ant enemies are so annoying. Thank god I don't have to do that again, only to run to the bird gauntlet. It's like they were obsessed with the Colosseum of Fools in Hollow Knight. Like they really liked that. So they made sure to put 1 billion of them in Silksong. Oh, the players love the wave after wave of bullshit. They love that. And then when you die, you gotta start all over. Maybe Silksong's difficulty is Team Cherry's payback to all the people that slaughtered the helpless baby mushrooms in the fungal wastes like Anakin Skywalker in the first game. Like these little baby mushrooms are so cute. They don't hurt you, they just kind of walk around. Guaranteed you slaughtered them mercilessly when you played Hollow Knight. I know you did. Don't even try to tell me you didn't. You saw those tiny little baby mushrooms and you slaughtered them. The only thing that makes Silksong a little easier than Hollow Knight is that the Knight can only heal while on the ground, while Hornet can heal midair. So while playing as Hornet, you're definitely incentivized to fight while airborne a lot more than in Hollow Knight. I recently played through both games entirely, and I can definitely see why the first game was praised so heavily, while Silksong got some backlash. Hollow Knight, while tough in some areas, is mostly a fairly chill experience. You'll still be challenged, but you'll never feel like the game is taking a hot, nasty turd directly on your chest. Silksong will shit all over you, without remorse. It doesn't care if you have a bad time, it wants you to bathe in its difficulty, and then slowly overcome it. If you had an amazing time facing Ishin from Sekiro, then you will love this game. This is coming from someone who loves Souls games, by the way. I 100%ed every single one of them. Yeah, I would call myself a Souls veteran. I became the Elden Lord. I became a slug in Bloodborne, without dying to a single boss, mind you, in one playthrough. I got a platinum in Sekiro, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. I platinumed Armored Core Fires of Rubicon. I mean, I'm a god gamer, okay? Silksong was hard. I beat it. Every single boss, dude. I did all the annoying shit. So if I think this game's difficult, I know what I'm talking about.
Suck my dick, old man. What are you doing?
I love the formula. Struggle, persist, overcome, relish the victory, repeat. It's addicting, so I love the original Hollow Knight. Don't think I hate this game, because I don't. I had a lot of fun playing it.
God, holy fuck, these guys are hard.
I love the way Hornet controlled, and it was really fun trying to figure out which tools worked best with which crest, and figuring out my playstyle, trying to conquer these arenas or bosses with a certain loadout that will work best against it. All of that was pretty fun. And then finally overcoming these things felt good. But the struggle, man. Oh my god, this game makes you struggle. I think Team Cherry, in attempting to push things to the extreme, turned the difficulty dial up a little too much. After the game was released, people complained. So then they nerfed the early game bosses that I don't think needed nerfing. It's kind of bizarre, especially when they kept one particular boss the same. If you played this game, you know what I'm talking about. I have a running theory. One of the Team Cherry guys had a really bad day. His girlfriend broke up with him, he tripped on a bar of soap in the shower, he stepped on a Lego, and on that day, he created the Savage Beastfly boss. A month later, he goes out on a date with a new girl. He really likes her. They go to a Mexican place. She flirts with him all night. Things are going great. He pays for the meal. She then has her boyfriend that she didn't tell him about pick her up from the restaurant. He watches as this guy tongues her down outside. On the way home, the Mexican doesn't agree with him, so he shits his pants in the Uber. That night, he created the second Savage Beastfly boss fight. Like, he just wants the world to feel his pain, you know?
I'm tilted at this point. Very fucking tilted.
Why does Team Cherry love the boss Rom the Vacuous Spider so much? If you've played the game Bloodborne and you face the boss Rom the Vacuous Spider, you probably thought it was pretty annoying, right? You have to constantly avoid all these annoying little spiders that surround the arena. And then you have to focus on the fat spider in the middle that's barraging you with spells. It's definitely an annoying fight. Team Cherry loved that fight though. You can tell because they made like 90% of their boss fights in SILKSONG that same fight, but worse. Whenever I came across a boss in this game that didn't start out with a gauntlet of little shits or include little minions within the fight itself, I was so happy because there's too many in this game and I hated all of them. Savage Beastfly and the second version. Grohl the Great, the Broodmother. Annoying as hell, by the way. This boss bounces around the arena like crazy. Ugh. Cygnus and Gron, the Unraveled, Sister Splinter, Carmelita. Like, why can't I just fight the boss and just the boss? Like, why do you have to throw more shit at me? These bosses are tough as it is. And that's not even putting into account the runbacks that will often cause damage before the boss fights themselves. It just leads to a lot of frustration.
Yep, we're done today.
The worst offender of this is definitely Crust King Kong. King Kong? Why does this sound so similar to King Kong? Like, Savage Beastfly's actual boss fight is much worse, but the gauntlet leading up to Khan is horrible. You need to pass through 4 rooms of enemies to reach him. They increase in difficulty as you go, and it's so frustrating, especially since the first time I went through them, I got to room 3 thinking, well, it's okay, I can die. The other rooms are probably open now since I completed them. How wrong I was. You gotta complete every single one of them each time! When you finally do complete all of them, there is a shortcut you can unlock to bypass all of the rooms and reach the boss fight. Thankfully, the actual boss is relatively easy, but oh my god, what a pain in the ass. I feel like in these games, I die more to contact damage than anything else. Like, I can avoid their attacks perfectly fine. I just can't help but touch the boss when I'm trying to attack it, or the million annoying little shits they summon in the arena. Avoiding touching the enemies is the most annoying part of these games, I swear. Like, what were they thinking with a Savage Beastfly? Let's put this massive missile bug in the middle of this tiny arena and make him shoot across it and then slam up and down. Not only that, he will summon enemies that drop from cages that can damage you. And then once they're summoned, he'll summon more and more. It's the most aggravating fight in existence, I swear. I can't think of a time I've been more annoyed during a boss fight. Orphan of Cause, easy. Ishin the Sword Saint, no problem. Savage Beastfly. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. You know how cool it would be when you came across an illusory wall in Dark Souls? Like, you're just walking around, you're like, this wall looks suspicious, so you attack it, it disappears, and there's a secret area. Oh my god, so cool and interesting and mysterious. And it's always so cool if you didn't know it was there in the first place. Every time it feels like you entered this like forbidden area that nobody was ever meant to go. In SILKSONG, however, there's 10,000 breakable walls. They're everywhere. They're so commonplace that you would be a weirdo not to go around attacking every surface you come across. No joke, every single room I smacked every surface. You know how long it probably took me just to smack every surface of every room? And that includes the huge tunnels that you fall through. You have to slowly drop through this tunnel and smack every inch of the wall. And yeah, there are indicators showing you which walls are breakable and which aren't, but in some areas it's very difficult to tell. And not only that, there are tons of areas that you can jump up into that don't have breakable walls. You're just supposed to know that you can jump into this random ceiling and enter a new room. So not only do you have to attack every surface, you have to jump up into the ceiling everywhere you go, just to make sure that there isn't a secret room there, because there are just so many. When I found the breakable wall that led led to the hive in the first game, it was really a fun moment. But in SILKSONG, there's just too many secret areas. As much as I love them, I think less is more in this case. There are so many in this game, I didn't feel anything when I entered one. I was like, oh, it's just another one, okay. You see this lush green area? Welcome to Moss Grotto. It's nice, right? Peaceful. The enemies are hardly a threat. It's a breeze going through here. Don't get used to it. You will soon come across Hunter's March, which is full of annoying pogo areas. There's traps everywhere, including on a bench, which is just pure evil. Like the infected grubs in Hollow Knight were a fun but not annoying type of trap. You know, you find like 3 of them in one room and you're like, oh my God, there's so many grubs in here. So you free them all and then they start attacking you, but they're not incredibly difficult to kill, so it's still a fun surprise. It doesn't just fuck you over out of nowhere. If you learn how to fix this bench, then congratulations. You're about to fight one of gaming's most annoying bosses in history. Have fun slamming your nuts in a car door for the next 4 hours before realizing that maybe you shouldn't be fighting him yet. And it's not super obvious in this game like it is in Elden Ring, for example. When you first fight Margit the Fell Omen, it's pretty obvious when you're not supposed to be fighting him yet, because you can see his health bar, you can see how much damage you're doing, you can tell how much damage he's doing to you, and not only that, there's areas of the map that you can still explore. And it's very clear to you that you can leave and come back, level up, and, you know, fight him again. In SILKSONG, you can't really level up. Like, you can find mask shards, you can level up your needle, but to do those things, it's a long process. And you have to know where to look. It's not as simple as leveling up your character. That, and when you're fighting the boss, you're not entirely sure how much damage you're doing to it, so you're kind of left in the dark, unsure whether or not you can kill it yet, which leads to a lot of frustration. What if I told you that there's a worse area? Did you guys like Blight Town in Dark Souls? How about the Valley of Defilement in Demon Souls? Or Lake of Rot in Elden Ring? Well, see this putrid piece of shit I'm in right now? Welcome to Sinner's Road. To put it lightly, this area sucks.
Ask them guys on Sinner's Road what I wouldn't do for 20 rosaries.
At least in FromSoft Souls games, if you get poisoned, you're still able to heal. In SILKSONG, if you're poisoned, your silk bar is slowly drained, and you have to use silk in order to heal. You can only use your silk to remove the poison, and in order to do this, you have to fill up your silk bar by attacking enemies. So say you miraculously fill up your silk bar, and you were damaged by some enemies in the process. Congratulations, you can remove the poison, but you're still damaged, and the odds of you getting poisoned again are like 98%. Yes, there's an item that you can use that will help you avoid getting poisoned, but you have to know where that is first. Guess where it is? Right there. Great. So yeah, this area is horrendous. If that wasn't bad enough, Sinner's Road has incredibly annoying flying enemies and pogo spikes. Thank God there's a bench in this area, but it's broken. Of course it's broken. How do you fix it? You have to find a hidden path, and odds are you didn't find it unless you looked online. Playing this game blind without any help online would be a complete nightmare. Bravo to like the 3 people on Earth that did that. You're a stronger person than I am. Now you're introduced to one of the most annoying little sections in the entire game. Good luck not dying here. If you miraculously make it through this entire area, you can finally fix the bench. Good job. In order to fight the boss in this section, you need to kill their minions first. Granted, their minions are pretty easy, but then they slam their rot-infested ass on your face. Good luck not getting poisoned during this fight. This boss throws poison up into the air non-stop, and you're forced to avoid it over and over. This boss is a nightmare. Now, what if I were to tell you that there's an even worse area than this? Welcome to Bile Water. If this area doesn't break you, then your balls are made of titanium. Enemies spawn from out of nowhere to shoot projectiles at you in this area. There's poison water everywhere. The bubbles you pogo off of can burst and damage you. There's these massive flying fucks that spit a tidal wave of vomit at you as you're trying to platform through this hellhole. If you finally do manage to get to the bench in this area, the game says, "Good job, dude,"
Go fuck yourself.
and drops you into a pit of poison water. Haha, good joke, game. The real bench in this area is hidden, because of course it is. The boss in this area is horrific. First off, you need to kill 1,000 of his little minion bastards. In this little enclosed space, at the bottom there's poison water, so if you drop into it, good luck healing. Once you finally kill them all, you're introduced to Grohl the Great. Grohl the greatest pain in my ass. He dives at you and spits giant projectiles at you. He can suck you off and eat you.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, he sucks you up and eats you. I have no problem admitting that I cheesed him to death. You can just chill in the poison water and kill him slowly with tools, and I did that. I feel so bad for all the poor souls that painfully killed him normally, because not only do you have to fight this boss and the little gauntlet beforehand, the run back to this boss arena is horrific. If it wasn't for the good music, then this place would have literally zero redeeming qualities. And then there's climbing Mount Faye, a platforming nightmare where you're essentially timed by the elements that will kill you if you aren't fast enough. Why? Although there is a pretty cool trick that I wasn't aware of before finishing it. If you use the flint slate tool, which lights your weapon on fire, it gives you some extra time in the freezing cold before taking damage. It's the little things like that that I think Team Cherry did a great job with in this game. Also, some bosses don't drop any rewards. So that's cool. One example is Plasmified Zango, an annoying bastard that heals himself as you're fighting him, and he gives you jack shit. My favorite boss in the game was definitely First Sinner. She's not easy by any means, but she is fair and fun. It's a super fast fight, and it's just addicting. Learning all of her moves was really fun, and it's so fast paced, it's just like fun once you start to get the rhythm down. And the run back isn't bad at all. They literally respawn you right outside the boss room. She made for an incredible boss fight. I also had a good time fighting Phantom, Last Judge, and the Clover Dancers. I also loved fighting Shrine Guardian Seth, even though he's very difficult. It didn't feel like I was getting cheated out of the win. I wasn't getting hit by these little shits that were flying all over the place. It felt more like a dance, which I really like. The final boss of the game, well, the real final boss of the game, is incredibly difficult, but I still liked it. It's fun because this is the third time you fight her in the game, and each time she gets increasingly difficult, and you have those previous fights to look back on, and you see some of her familiar moveset combined with what's pretty much just like the Venom symbiote. What I found the most annoying about her wasn't the fact that she parries nonstop, it's the fact that if you want to use tools against her, which you most definitely will, you gotta make damn sure you use them sparingly, because if not, and you're a fool and you use the Architect crest, you gotta trek your ass all the way back to your farming area and spend a while farming them again, and it's super annoying to do that every time. Farming 15,000 Geo for Unbreakable Strength was bad enough in the first game. Do you know how many hoppers I killed in order to get that Geo? I'm pretty sure I wiped out that entire species. I know you can use the Bell Beast babies to teleport later in the game, so you can instantly fast travel somewhere. But still, getting back to the fight is always a pain in the ass. They definitely should have made the last boss fight one that you could just repeat over and over without losing anything. I say this as a die-hard Bloodborne fan. I never like farming for consumables in games. It's always annoying. So when a game practically forces me to, I'm not a big fan. It takes you away from the action for too long. And some people might defend this by saying, oh, well, that's part of the game design. Everybody knows if you take some time away from the boss fight and come back, you'll perform better. You gotta marinate on it. I don't care. I don't care. It's not fun. That's my rebuttal. At the same time, I think Grandmother Silk was too easy as like the final boss of Act 2. You'll see credits roll, so a lot of people will end the game there thinking like, oh my god, it all led up to that? What? I'm getting flashbacks from Expedition 33. Amazing game, by the way. Go out and play that if you haven't. Game of the year, 1000%. Anyway, it's kind of similar to the first game. I didn't find the Hollow Knight all that difficult. I think they do this on purpose because they have to account for a wide range of build varieties for people who go into the final boss. Not everybody who faces the final boss will have completed everything. So it might have been a lot easier for me because I had all the masks unlocked and I had Unbreakable Strength. So for someone else, it might not have been as easy.
Fuck.
But it is kind of weird, right? Like in Cyberpunk, for example, by the time I reached the final boss in that game, they were kind of a joke because my character was so beefy.
You look like a cut of fuckable meat.
But I understand why devs feel like they have to do this, because not every game is gonna be Sekiro, where the last boss is gonna stonewall the shit out of you. The weirdest thing happened to me when I was fighting Lost Lace. I stood still in the far corner of the arena, waiting to see what she'll do. But then she was just like, nowhere to be seen.
The fuck?
Hey, disconnected.
I waited, and then she finally reappeared when I moved again. She kind of just like vanished into the black gunk. My advice for beating her would be to focus entirely on survivability instead of damage output. Don't rely on damage tools too much because farming for shards is a pain in the ass. Learn her moveset best you can and punish her openings. I know, I'm so smart. I'm so smart. But it's really that simple. I beat her using the Wanderer's Crest after trying over and over with the Architect. I love the Wanderer's Crest because of how fast it is. I was able to punish her so heavily during her vulnerability windows. I want to talk about the quest or wish named Passing of the Age, because my god, when you first start this quest, it doesn't seem like a big deal. You need to hunt down these little mushroom locations and play your needle in to make them pop out of the ground, and then he'll say some cryptic shit and disappear, and you have to do this over and over. The quest itself isn't too bad. It does take a while to get to these different locations, but then you have to locate the last mushroom. Oh my fucking god. This parkour section was designed by Lucifer himself.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just becoming too much damn work, you know?
SILKSONG feels like it was developed by the kids who love making the most pain-in-the-ass levels in Super Mario Maker. Let me give you all a tip to make this part 1,000 times easier. Don't do it. No, but seriously, if you want to do it, if you want to platinum this game, and you want to painstakingly get through this is what you should do. This part is super annoying because there's spikes everywhere, there's annoying flying turtles you have to bounce off of, and death will find you over and over. If you want to do this in the least pain-in-the-ass way possible, equip the Architect Crest. And I know what you're thinking if you've played this game. The Architect Crest has one of the worst pogos in the entire game, but that's not the reason you want this crest. You want it for the Plasmium File. Put on the Plasmium File and the Cling Grip, and use the Plasmium File over and over until you run out. You then use your Silk to reload, use the Plasmium File some more until Hornet yells and your health masks turn blue. This means they'll passively regenerate. This will allow you to retry sections of this area over and over without needing to retry the entire thing upon death. This way, if you take too much damage, you can just use your Cling Grip to sit on a wall and just wait until your health replenishes entirely and then try again. And then you can just do this over and over until you get it. This is the only way to approach this part without losing sanity. So yeah, let's talk about the tools and crests in this game. The cog flies are this game's saving grace. They make this game so much more bearable. You summon these robot flies to fly around your head, and they automatically attack things that are near you. Thank God for these things, because if they didn't exist, I don't know if I would have beat the game. They make fighting flying enemies so much easier. There is a similar item you can use, like the Wisp Fire Lantern, that will use some of your silk every so often to shoot off a fireball directly at an enemy. It's not nearly as good though, because you want your silk to heal, and this thing will fire off over and over again using all your silk. So unless you can reliably get it back very fast, then it's not worth it. So maybe with Reaper's Crest, it'd be okay. But yeah, in my opinion, the cog flies are just 1,000 times better, because sometimes the fireballs will miss. Like, what? Some of the tools in this game are just so much better than the other tools that I'm not sure why some of them even exist. I do like how some tools will strengthen different crests, like the quick sling you might want for the Architect Crest so you can throw things out faster. The Memory Crystal, Claw Mirror, Injector Band, and Reserve Bind are all great with the Witch Crest, because your bind or heal will only heal you if you're near an enemy, but if you're near an enemy and it hits them, it's like a mini nuke. It's fun to play around with. The different crests make for fun and unique different playstyles, and I had a good time kind of like tinkering with each one to figure out how to strengthen them. I feel like the Beast Crest could definitely use some love though. Its pogo is trash and basically useless. The only pogo worse than the Architect's. You don't heal when you bind while using it. Instead, you go into like this rage mode that will sap health from enemies when you attack them, but you'll do a lot more damage and your reach will increase. And Hornet does some growls here and there. It's very cute. She kind of turns into Wolverine. And in this game, when most bosses teleport around the arena nonstop and are kind of difficult to hit, and oftentimes leave the arena altogether, the Beast Crest is just an inferior option to the rest of them, especially since it won't allow you to attach any blue items, which are the best items in the game. The Architect Crest is overpowered. That is, if you're willing to farm nonstop. It requires so much farming to be useful, but it's definitely the best crest in the game, in my opinion. Use cog flies, polyp pouch, tax, and any other tool, and enemies will start dying very fast. I just wish you could buy multiple of certain items, more specifically the shard bundle. When you go to buy them, you're probably gonna buy more than one. It's just such a waste of time buying them one by one, especially in the late game. And I hate that there's a cap of 20 of them. You should be able to buy like 50 of them. I don't know. In close second is the Hunter's Crest. Sure, the pogo is awkward, but once it receives a buff midway through the game that increases its damage the more you hit enemies, it becomes so good. The most well-rounded crest is the Wanderer's Crest, in my opinion. It has an amazing pogo. It reminds me of original Hollow Knight's gameplay. Short, fast attacks that you can easily overpower enemies with. It's very deadly if you can get in close, or if you use an item to increase its range. I also really like the Reaper's Crest, even though its attacks are awkward as hell. It allows you to produce silk so it can keep you in the fight longer.
Meow, fuck out the way.
It has a great pogo, but its upswing is trash. So fighting airborne enemies can be super annoying. So if you don't have cog flies, it's just like, why would you ever use it? I love how the NPCs sing in this game. I never got tired of that. I'd walk around my house singing Chakra's little jingle.
Cadestre.
I also like how NPCs in the environment will react to you playing the Needle in different ways, especially the bosses. Like if you play the Needle for Phantom, The way she reacts is so funny. Like, goddamn, she was definitely a theater kid. So let's talk about the mini games in this game. There are several of them. One is an aim test called the Lottie Throwing Challenge, where you need to fire pins at a target that moves around. If you miss 3 times, you lose. Hitting 15 of them without missing 3 isn't too bad, especially for the reward that expands your toolkit. But then he offers you a harder challenge, and you'd think you get like a mask shard or something, because you have to hit 25 in a row, and they get increasingly more difficult, and you can't miss 3 times without starting over. And you need to spend 25 rosary beads each time you want to try this. So guess what you get when you finally do beat it? A rosary necklace that, when cracked, only gives you 220 beads. And the challenge isn't easy, so you're more likely to spend more beads trying this over and over than you'll gain by finally finishing it. It's just a huge waste of time. I don't know what they were thinking with this reward. And it's super frustrating, it just doesn't make any sense. So I wouldn't do this unless you're like really good at it. There's this racing mini game, which is fine, I guess. Super late into Act 3, you'll come across a super infuriating set of mini games with the flea caravan. Not only do you have to rescue every single flea in the game to do this, finishing these mini games itself is a nightmare. And you want to do this, by the way, because you'll get your final needle upgrade if you do. But going through it, oh my god, it's so annoying. I still have Vietnam flashbacks from the juggling. Good god, dude. And the game like mocks you because it looks like it's supposed to be simple and fun, you know? Oh my god, ooh, this is so fun and cute. No, I hate it. I hate this. I absolutely loved the story about Seth, the kid with cancer who created this character for SILKSONG, and they actually put the character in and named him Seth. It's one of the most heartwarming stories I've ever heard in gaming, and I love it so much. When I came across Seth in this game, I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I hope this boss kicks my ass. Overall, this is a good game with some super frustrating elements. And yes, you could say that about all Souls or Souls-like games, but this one feels a little mean at times. It spits in the face of the player more than it should. Don't get me wrong, when used sparingly, things like fake benches and traps can be funny and clever. But when it's done repeatedly, it just gets annoying, especially when they put these things in an area that's already super annoying. That said, the music, world, combat, and characters are so great that it makes up for this game's need to poke you with a cattle prod every now and then. I love when devs put characters like Zote the Mighty in their games. I loved his silly character. He's like this grumpy old bug that belittles you the entire game. He constantly gets himself trapped, so you have to save him over and over. He boasts about his combat prowess the entire game, and then you finally fight him in the arena, and he's a joke. He trips over himself. When he jumps, he falls over. He deals 0 damage. I love it. It's so funny. His character is amazing. It kind of reminds me of Rick the Door Technician from Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Of course, if you want a challenge, you can always fight Grey Prince Zote in the Pantheon. But yeah, I just love when game devs have fun and put silly things like that in their games. There's not really a character equivalent in SILKSONG, although Garmin and Zaza are amazing. And I love Sherma. His little song is cute. Everything I say negatively about this game aside, a huge round of applause to Ari Gibson and William Pellin. I can't imagine making a game this detailed with just one other person. That's insane. What these guys have accomplished is mind-blowing. These games are so good, especially with a team so small. SILKSONG was originally planned to be downloadable content for the original Hollow Knight. Its scope ceaselessly continued to grow while being developed, leading to Team Cherry announcing in 2019 that the additional content would be expanded into a full-fledged sequel. Still, 7 years is a lengthy time for a game's development, although, you know, 2 people developed it. And typically when a game takes a long time to make, it's due to a variety of different problems, challenges, and mismanagement. That was not the case here. Pallin had said that they didn't set out to make the sequel more difficult than its predecessor. Pallin had said that he wanted the player to spend more time at either full health or almost dead, with the gameplay snapping between these states. Well, he accomplished just that. Hornet does have a beefed up healing factor compared to the unnamed Knight in order to balance out this added element. So she takes more damage and she heals more damage. In theory, that should be completely fine, right? That is, if you're continually getting Silk to heal. A lot of the times, it's not super easy to get Silk because the enemies are bouncing around the arena, or they just vanish from the arena altogether, leading to you getting damage from things that are just flying around the arena, while you're still able to be damaged. So it doesn't work as intended, I don't think, in every case. I know, you're supposed to get good, right? But you can say that about everything. That means nothing. We're very fortunate that we have a development method that is so enjoyable, Gibson said, describing his time producing the game. I'm not exactly sure how we stumbled into that. Everything comes together quickly. You can see results fast. Ideas turn into something that exists in the game almost immediately before your eyes, and that's very satisfying. Due to the massive success of the first game and the independent nature of Team Cherry, they were able to keep the cost for the second installment considerably lower than comparable games on the market at around only $20. Major online video game stores, notably Steam and that of Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation, suffered outages and other technical issues for a few hours right around the game's wide release. This was due to the sheer amount of people eagerly trying to purchase and download their copies at the same time. Team Cherry does plan on expanding the game and releasing downloadable content as time goes on. I know this game is a pain in the ass, but for $20, holy shit, you get your money's worth. Team Cherry has caused me a lot of frustration, but holy shit, I love them. My relationship with their games is kind of complicated. Like, I don't think I've ever been more annoyed while playing a game, but at the same time, love the game I was playing. SILKSONG is a very special game. So yeah, that will do it for this video. Let's play a game. Count all the get goods in the comment section down below, and then post the number in the comments, and then update it every 24 hours, and see how many more there are. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 get goods in the comment section. Nothing will happen if you do this, but it'll be funny. Kind of like some of the bosses in this game. You can beat them, good for you. You won't get shit for doing so. Don't forget to check out the new FromSoft Souls merch over at alienclothing.com, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!